song I want to talk about is Terrible. He starts off name-dropping Nancy Kerrigan, who got her fucking knee smashed with a bat. Then he talks about Michael Jackson squeezing up on some little kid's balls. And he actually makes a reference to the Beastie Boys. We can intergalactic satellite data compress, yes, but we can't feed the homeless. That's a jab the Beastie Boys right there. We talk about O.J. Simpson's story unfolding and the Oklahoma City bombing. And why don't we care? Because wheelchairs cost $900. Expensive as fuck. But talking about Ozzy Osbourne. Now, they didn't actually mention his name, but they're talking about how he was getting protested. You know, they claim to be religious groups, but they actually helping Ozzy Osbourne make money instead of putting that money to help poor people who are eating out of fucking garbage cans. So, of course, Shaggy says, shit, I could use the money. Why don't you come protest me? You know? No, but then they talk about Eazy-E dying of AIDS, and no one really gives a shit about Eazy-E dying. Kurt Cobain blowing his head off, becoming a legend. Shaggy poses the question, if he did that, you know, if Shaggy blew his head off, maybe Jay would get paid. And he's talking about Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. So there's a lot of names getting dropped in this track. You know, they do have a little part where they start evoking the rebel flag from Carnival of Carnage, you know. It's like, are your kids so terrible you gotta beat them up too, you drunk motherfucker? And it's like, rebel flag in your schools, rebel flag in your parks, rebel flag in your courtrooms, rebel flag in your hearts, rebel flag stood for slavery, rebel flag stood for war, rebel flag stood for hatred, but just go ahead and hang your flag up some more. The only reason I go through that whole fucking verse is because in the third verse, Shaggy 2 Dope talks about how we live in a country that were built on slaves, beat down and murdered and stuffed in their grave. And you put a slave owner on the $1 bill, and you want to know why I kill people. And he's talking about George Washington and how George Washington was a slave owner. And bombs are blowing up, cops are corrupt, and all you care about is who the president fucked. Talking about Bill Clinton. And they say at the very end of the song, you don't know Terrible, but you will as soon as the wagons come over the hill, which is a little foreshadowing to Hell's Pit. But the next two songs are on Bizarre Bizarre. You've got Please Don't Hate Me, which is another love song to Eminem, but that's more of a joke song. What I was thinking of was Let It Killa, where Violent J's talking about wanting to fuck famous hoes, like the chick from Letters to Cleo, Mariah Carey, Britney Spears, and then Shaggy's second verse is a whole big setup to poke fun at Sharon Osbourne.
That sounds funny.
Yeah, and of course that's like a little retaliation from their beef that came from the Howard Stern interviews. I used to love watching Howard Stern, and when ICP came on, that was the shit.
Yeah, I remember that.